sugarcoat it, man. We weren't ready for prime time tonight. All of us not a good enough plan, not a good enough execution of that plan. You got to get a good plan. They executed the plan. They got to make significant plays, even with all the things that I said. That bang bang play ball. It seems like they made them and we didn't. And so, we accept responsibility for that. It's humbling. It sucks. But that's the National Football League. It won't define us if we don't let it. And that's what we talked about in there. But part of that is just acknowledging what I said when I opened. We weren't ready for prime time tonight. So we got to get back to the drawing board. We won't go undefeated. We're 0-1.
And now, time to get in the huddle with your host, Charles Bryant Ricky, here on the Mass Steel Podcast.
This thing belongs to Mr. Ray, belongs here, and let's see if we can bring this damn thing back here next year, along with Super Bowl. Steelers, the hard way. With the 10th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush.
Happy Monday, folks, and let's get ready to break down the Mass Steel Podcast here with me, Charles Bryant Richie. I know it's a little bit of a depressing Monday for a lot of fans out there who watched that disaster. I bring to you once again Boston's rendition of the Boston Massacre, or New England, I should say, yesterday as the Steelers fall horrifically, 33-3. A lot of stuff went wrong from the very get-go. I thought the very first drive they did okay, stopping Brady on offense to start off. They had 3 and out. Steelers were able to get the ball back. Not much able to do as far as on that opening play of the opening drive of the game. I mean, it was just very disappointing to say the least. And the Steelers, their very first drive, here's what happened. They got all the way up to their own 39-yard line where they had to punt it away. Then basically what ends up happening, the next drive, New England Patriots methodically marched down the field, just chipping it away with some great quick slants, which has always been one of the Steelers' downfall, if you ask me. I thought they kind of got that figured out in the preseason, watching this defense, but it doesn't seem like that was likely. Once again, it's another blunder by the coaching staff to start off their season. And I don't know what it is. Is it just probably playing in Foxborough, New England? It's like the House of Horrors. The way I look at it, I told a couple people about this. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry about that, folks. I had a little sound in the background there, but that was actually a play from the game where Brady connected with Dorsett for a 58-yard touchdown in the game. Of course, when you look at everything over here, I mean, this game, what really went wrong could go wrong for the Steelers that night. Like I said, and I told a couple people before, the way I look at it sports-wise, it would be like the old Los Angeles Lakers having to face the Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden, like in an NBA final, the way I viewed it. It just, for some reason, it's just going for those House of Horrors. It's just that atmosphere. something, mentally or executionally wise, just seems to find a way to break down. And that's the way I saw that game last night. I saw it as from many angles from this way. Number one, the Patriots were very fast. They had speed. And if anyone watches football, that's one of the key elements, especially nowadays. If you could have good speed, that's pretty much a very big chunk of domination right there, and they could build up a lot of teams' confidence. I think speed. It was also third down conversions in this game that went totally bombed in the Steelers' face. When you look at a lot of it was due to drop passes too. In this game, more so by Dante Moncrief, who for this game, when you look at it overall, Dante Moncrief, who actually gotten a lot of hype, he was targeted 10 times and he dropped 7 passes for the evening. He led his team with drop passes. That was very significant. He was only able to get 3 receptions for 7 yards. That was a big, rough start right there. And I also felt like, too, with this whole running back where they're going to have multi-backs use, not run the brakes off. Let me tell you something. I think they may need to reconsider that. What I would do going forward, listen, we saw what James Conner could do last year when the Steelers would have him start off right here at this point in time when you look at it. And, of course, I really believe what's happening is that you saw what James Conner could do last year before he got hurt. Before he started, he has run in with the Carolina Panthers on Thursday Night Football where he had that 1 concussion. You got Jalen Samuels, who's still a decent back. If you ask me, he's still got some flashes. Obviously, didn't have it last night, but I'll let James Conner be the bell cow on this running back attack. You start off that way, then you grind it out later on. You grind out the first downs with your backups, and I think that's how you do it. Other than that, when you really look at it, this was a disaster from start to finish overall. No doubt about it. This was something they had to get fixed up here. And that's all I can really say. The drop passes were definitely the story of the night. And other than that, I think Ben Roethlisberger, he struggled mightily, but he was still able to throw for 276 yards in the game. His passing percentage was nothing to be proud of. Actually, when you look at it, he only completed about 57% of his passes, which could have definitely been better. He was overthrowing guys a lot of times, missing routes, and that seemed to be the biggest thing. But like I said, the biggest story, it was the Patriots' speed, the Pittsburgh Steelers struggling mightily on converting third downs and having to defend it here on this day. When you really look at it here, the Steelers in this contest, overall as a whole, they were 3 for 12 on first downs, which is not good. You're only converting about 25%. Well, you have the Patriots who are 7 for 14, 50% of the third downs were converted. That was another thing. So it was the speed of the Patriots altogether when they were making these quick slants by Brady or on special teams. Inconsistent rhythm with Ben Roethlisberger and his guys. Harley targeted Juju Smith-Schuster, trying to spread this ball around. And, of course, you got to give it up to the Patriots. They just had great defense. Bill Belichick always having the reputation as being a great defensive genius. Those are the bottom line things that really stood out to me. Anyway, if you want, feel free to be part of the podcast. The number to be reached is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. You can also follow me on Twitter at Prodigy Richie. You can also check me out on Instagram, Steel Nation. And then you can also check out my YouTube channel, which is also streaming live, Steel Podcast. And like I said, I mean, Mike Tomlin's assistant coaching staff usually gets very criticized when facing up against New England Patriots. Right now, you got overall Tom Brady, who was a perfect 6-0 overall against the Steelers with 129.9 QB rating, has 21 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. That's another thing. They cannot pick off anyone to save the life for them. That is the biggest scary thing. I mean, when facing this. I mean, listen. I mean, when you look at this overall game, I mean, it's not doomsday, I would say, just yet. Obviously, they still got a tough start to the month. You got to still open up against the Seattle Seahawks. I know a lot of people are looking at that game. They barely beat Bengals by a point in that game, but still, Russell Wilson and them is still very respectable. They're kind of going through like what the Steelers went through about like 7 years ago, where they're transitioning offensively. I mean, of course, they no longer got the Legion of Boom defense. But I mean, I gotta tell you right now, I mean, the Seattle Seahawks, they were lucky to hold off the Bengals yesterday afternoon. I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, Russell Wilson did not have his best game. He got outpassed. He had 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, only rushed the ball 4 times for 8 yards. Then he also had Andy Dalton, who passed 35 of 51, 418 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And when you look at it, and like I said, that's another team who's right there when you look at it. I mean, who's definitely, I'm not going to say in decline, but they're still a team that could scare you. I mean, at times they could put a damper in like any hope the Steelers may want to have as far as like moving forward. I think you got to really look at it this way. I mean, they got to be careful with that because, I mean, luckily they'll be starting a 12 o'clock game. I mean, when you have a West Coast team, it's not going to be a late afternoon game, by the way, but it's going to be a 12 o'clock Central Standard Time game, 1 o'clock Eastern for that game. Then also you're going to be going travel to San Francisco, take on the 49ers. That's going to be a late afternoon game. That's going to be a 4:25 Eastern Standard Time, 3:25 p.m. Central Time. And then, of course, you're also going to be having to be a home Monday Night Football game against the Cincinnati Bengals. This is still a tough start right now for the start of the season. I definitely feel like it's going to be a tough stretch. I mean, starting off, coming right out of the gun. I think they'll be lucky if they go 2-2. I mean, schematically, I mean, they got a lot of work to do. I mean, the only good positive thing I could say is that this offensive line did hold their ground. I mean, they only gave up like 1 sack on the night when you really look at things. And as much people are definitely very grumpy and not very pleased about what happened, you still got to look at it this way. It's only the first game of the season. They didn't lose to anyone in the division, but they definitely still got some issues they got to address. I mean, coming up when you look at going forward. I mean, when you think about things. So just give me 1 second, folks. I just got to take a quick pause real quick here. Just stay with me here. You're listening live in the Meta Steel Podcast. Number to be reached again is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, everyone. All right, we are back here, everybody. Thank you very much for holding. Just running a little low on the battery here. Just had to pause things for a quick second. So we got a double header, of course, on ESPN Monday Night Football tonight. Of course, we already got the New Orleans Saints throwing down right now. So they're going to be having the second game of the double header with the Oakland Raiders hosting the Denver Broncos. That's going to be another good matchup coming up when we take a look at things. But like I said, I mean, obviously it's a lot more disappointment. I mean, this was been hyped already, who had a defense right here. I mean, and then also too, who should be doing a lot better. Obviously, they wet the bed last night, but let's just see what happens as we take a look going forward at this point in time when we see. But like I said, and one other thing we've got to get into some notes here as we look at it too. Also, Dale Lally noted too that there was 3 starters that got hurt in last night's game. When we look at it coming out of this game, I mean, Marquise Pouncey, he rolled up his ankle right there. BJ Fink was able to come into the game last night, so he was backup center right there. And then also too, you had TJ Watt out with a hip injury in the second game. I mean, in this game. And then you also had two in here, aside from that, you had Juju Smith-Schuster, who got tackled from behind in this game, who actually, as a matter of fact, right now, got like a toe injury in this game. So that was also all noted down by Dale Lally at this point in time when we look at it. But yeah, I definitely feel like it was a travesty. No question about it. So you had those injuries right there. Mike Tomlin was saying that Pouncey and Smith-Schuster seem to be okay. They're expected to play next Sunday, as a matter of fact, against the Seahawks. So which is some good news right now to kind of calm some stuff. I think that's the only thing that kind of like really made that thing a little worse for wear last night when you look at that. I think it was all because of that disappointment right there and what you had to do as far as like getting everything and what you put into this. The game plan, a lot of people just feel like it just went out the window. As a matter of fact, just proving to a lot of people's mind, you just still cannot beat, Belichick, at this point in time. And that's just been a very disappointing thing. Hate to say it, though, but, that has been the trend here. You're trading up for Devin Bush here, 10 spots. But Devin Bush, let's go over like some of the guys here also performed pretty decently here. You have Devin Bush, who led the team with tackles, no surprise there, who had 11 total for the night, 7 solo and 4 assisted. And of course, you also had the 2 guys who had tackles for loss. The couple of guys you had tackles for loss. You had Stephon Tuitt and Bud Dupree did decent. Had 2 of them. But it was pretty much like a little bit too late. This is like around the time when things were starting to get out of hand, if you ask me, when you look at it. So I definitely feel that. That it was just definitely a sad time right there. It was just a humiliating, humble fashion. And we'll just see how this team continues to do moving forward. This is definitely, one of the stats I was looking up to, whenever the Steelers lose at least by 21 points or more the following game, and this is under Mike Tomlin's tenure, they're usually like around like 7-1. So that's pretty encouraging right there. So let's just keep an eye on that as we move forward. So, yeah, they have very bad the opening loss, but it's not against a divisional opponent. But the only problem is, here's the thing. You got teams in the AFC North who is going to be facing the AFC East as well as the NFC West. So, again, the number to be reached is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. I can be followed at Prodigy Richie. You can also check me out on my Instagram page, Men of Steel Nation. And then you can also check out my YouTube channel, Men of Steel Podcast, as we continue to take things up here and look things further along at this point in time. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's one thing they just got to be a little bit more careful of at this point. It's definitely not the end-all to end-all right here as we take a look at, but you definitely got some things you got to be looking at. And you got to start wondering right now what's going to be like the rhythm they had. Because remember, they called up Johnny Holtman going into this game, looking to do some production on special teams. And speaking of which, it was actually Ryan Switzer who actually did it. Which Ryan Switzer, I'm still kind of a little disappointed. I'm not sure if he's the guy for your answer for special teams. 2 returns for 43 yards, averaging 21 and a half, as long as being 26 yards. That needs to improve a little bit. And that's one of the biggest flaws, too, that the Steelers haven't had in a while, whereas they're able to return special teams for touchdowns. That hasn't happened in a while when you think about it. I think that's one of the things right there we want to see get better. But like I said, I think the thing is, too, I mean, when you also look at this, I mean, like I said, last 2 times the Steelers faced Seahawks in Pittsburgh, they were both pre-Russell Wilson era. They beat them by a combined point differential of 45-0. Shutting them out both times. And I doubt that's going to happen again. But I also got a comment here from from familiar people, Ham Skillet. I think Evans not getting that interception changed momentum. Yeah, I definitely am with you right there. I mean, when you look at it too, this was like, I think you're referring to like around the second half, around the third quarter right there. I mean, I saw pretty much some guys give up on a pass right there. It was just embarrassing. I mean, right there, he had got 2 guys on one of the receivers, and they could have grabbed the ball. Instead, they just defended it. Guy went to the ground. That was it. And I think that's just been one of the biggest things that has killed them. Also, I got Linda Jane Hill. Always great coming across you. Still a fan, always have been. Thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate it. You're always welcome to be joining the show here. Like I said, anyone who wants to call in, feel free to share me your thoughts right now. But yeah, I'm looking at this right here, and like I said, I mean, it's just the fact that the Patriots are just that darn good. Very lucky they did not have to worry about Antonio Brown. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, he wasn't going to be in this game. I mean, that's a whole other conversation for another day. But I mean, you got to start to wonder, I mean, is that going to work? Are they necessarily going to need him at that point in time? So I want to just ask you guys a question real quick. After seeing what you see last night, what do you feel like the record is going to be for the season? Do you think this is still a team that can still be a playoff team? And if so, what record do you anticipate? Do you think this will be the first losing season Mike Tom will experience in a long time? I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm just curious where it's going to be at and how does it get recognized? I mean, I tell you what, I mean, this game, as far as a humiliating loss, there was one game I was at about like 3 years ago when we look at it. And like I said, that was in Philadelphia against the Eagles, in my opinion. That was a big-time loss. I mean, you had Carson Wentz, who was a rookie that year. I was in Philadelphia. I was with my cousins and family, who I went to a Steelers game, my very first Steelers game the week before. Funny, they beat the Bengals. They held them off in their home opener that year. I mean, when you look at it, and they won that game by 8 points, 24-16. Then they went to Philadelphia, lost 34-3. Almost a similar score with the Patriots, just a 1 point difference. So you lose by 30 points. What ends up happening? They go out and destroy the Chiefs the following week by 29 points. As the same night when Kevin Green was getting his Hall of Fame ring for making the Hall of Fame. Even though he wasn't primarily recognized as a Steeler, but a lot of people always remember his contributions as far as being that era of Blitzburg under Bill Cowher right there, who actually helped breathe some life back into the Steeler defense. I mean, when you really think about things. I mean, that was one of the biggest things he did right there at the end of the day. I mean, he helped bring back the attitude along with Cowher and those guys. And we take a look at it here. And that's about it. But let's also move along here. Now, let's go into some topics here. Also, too, to wrap up in the opening drive, Joshua Dobbs, this is initially reported by Teresa Farley right now. He has been traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars since Nick Foles is hurting his clavicle, looks like he's going to miss like half the season. I'm not so sure about the season, but it sounds like it's going to be indefinite. Who knows if he's going to be able to come back. But they traded for Joshua Dobbs. In return, the Steelers get a late fifth-round pick in the 2020 draft that's coming up this year. I tell you what, I think that's been very not bad compensation right there. I don't know about you, but considering how the Steelers do drafting late, I mean, in those drafts, they have found some good people in there. I mean, when you look at with Javon Hargrave, who's one of them, I mean, overall. I mean, when you really think about it and what they've been able to do, I mean, with those late picks, I mean, another guy, too, you probably have to look at is Ulysses Gilbert, who's actually on the team right now. I mean, a guy from Akron, Ohio, I'd like to see what this kid could be able to do on the team later on. I mean, another decent late-round pick they had was Jalen Samuels from 2018. I mean, 2017 was a different story, but like I said, I think one of the guys that really stood out to me, I mean, too, you also had Tyler Metcalf. Javon Hargrave, correct me. That was a third-round pick, excuse me. But Tyler Metcalf right there, that was a good one right there. And, of course, you had Anthony Chickillo back in 2015, defensive end. So let's go wrap up right now. And fair or foul? According to Mark Kavaley of The Athletic, you can't read too much into week number 1. Fair or foul? Crazy as it may sound, but definitely have to say fair on that one. You definitely can't read too much into like the first game. Obviously, it's a devastating loss. Same old story and dance with the Patriots. Just cannot seem to find a way to beat them in their own backyard. Not in Brady's house, unfortunately. I mean, as everyone pays attention. But at the same time, too, like I said, 7-1 since losing games under Mike Tomlin by 21 points or more. I'm gonna have to roll with that for right now. I think they are going to get better. I mean, these guys are definitely a much younger team. Remember, the average team on this Steelers overall team, when we take a look at where everyone's at, I mean, they're pretty much in their mid-20s when we take a look at it. I mean, that's one of the biggest things right there. I mean, definitely an experienced guy. So the average age of this team is 26 years old. And Mike Tomlin obviously said they weren't ready for prime time, I mean, that night. But, I mean, definitely a lot of responsibilities right there you have to look at. You got to start wondering what they're going to tweak up here. I mean, this is where I'm going to start paying a little bit more attention to Teryl Austin Sr., what he's going to be able to do at this point in time. I mean, does he have some good implementations into the game plan with the defense? They're kind of working hand in hand together. I mean, when you really think about it. So, I don't know about you guys, but like I said, I got Ham Skillet who was saying another play that sucked life out of us is when James Washington ran out of bounds. Yeah, that's true. But like I said, I wonder how much is going to open James Washington for more targets. I mean, going forward, I mean, throughout, I mean, he had 6 targets. I mean, and he only dropped 4. I mean, he caught 2 of them for 51 yards. Longest was 45 yards. I expect James Washington to continue to be the guy to help Juju Smith-Schuster. Maybe not so much Moncrief. The question is going to move further down on the depth chart when we get more into it. That's all. Then also got another one here from Ham. We are fine. They were raising their banners. They just signed out former all-pro receiver. They just had momentum. True, but at the same time, too, I mean, like the saying goes from Daryl Drake, shut out the noise. I don't think they probably did this that night. I mean, it obviously proved once again, and it still comes down to execution and focus. And I tell you what, the good thing I will say from this game as well, too, they still managed to play disciplined football despite all that, despite getting beat down. So, I mean, penalties, I mean, which were pretty decent. They only had 6 penalties for 54 yards, so that was an encouraging sign right there. So they didn't get flagged so much where they shot themselves in the foot. It was just on pass coverage, execution, Patriots being fast. But the only thing that really did do them in, too, was a time possession where the Patriots controlled the ball for 32 minutes and 33 seconds. In this contest. Both teams did not get red zone score, so that's another good thing right there. If you want to look for some encouraging stuff out of this, those are stuff I would pay attention to, little tidbits as we move forward. And last but not least, for fair or foul topic, Sean Davis needs to come back and come back soon. Heck yes. Heck yes. I will say that right now. And I got to tell you right there, with Cam Kelly playing in that game as a backup who was going to be stepping in for Sean Davis, I'm not going to lie to you. It's definitely a point right here where the experience showed. It showed all around collectively on that night. I also got a comment very quick here from Willie Edwards. We need Dez. I'm not sure about that one right now. Dez Bryant, he's probably still be a guy that can help skill-wise, but I think when you look at it too, like I said, when you look at who they had to get rid of in their former talents and Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, this pretty much kind of like blew up in their face a little bit if you ask me. This was still a time right here where we saw the first season. You're looking for the maturity of how this team was going to show up and ball out. Instead, what ended up happening, it just proved to be the same old story with the Steelers and Patriots, especially when playing in Foxborough, New England, that they just can't be beat in there. The only thing is, I call me cuckoo or crazy, whatever you want to speak of me, but if they have them at home and they wear their color rush jerseys, who knows? Maybe it might be a different story that time around. We'll find out. But anyway, that's going to do it for a wrap for this edition here of the Men of Steel podcast. As always, you can catch me Mondays and Wednesdays streaming live here on my Facebook page, Men of Steel podcast. If you want to search it, just do Men of Steel podcast, or you do at Men of Steel Nation. That's capital N, capital S, capital N. Then, of course, you can check out my Instagram stream. That is Men of Steel podcast, all lower caps. And, of course, my YouTube channel, Men of Steel podcast. Actually, it's Men of Steel Nation for Instagram. All right. So, as always, leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I gone.